Hi, Leslie.
Hey, Christy, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thanks for getting on this call with me. What I was hoping, kind of like an agenda, is kind of let's just do a run through of how the pass off with you working with the host completely, and I kind of backed out of the picture. I know we certainly had a couple of issues as far as the pass off because I knew things that maybe you didn't, and there were things I needed to know and I didn't know, but I think all in all, we're certainly going to move in a direction. But thank you for doing this meeting with me, and we'll just make it real short and sweet, and I'll just ask a couple of questions and you can ask questions. How does that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay. So I guess the first thing would be to kind of talk about the host pass off. So you were finding the location and then you would pass it off to me. And what we tried to do is you would continue on that relationship with the host. Is that how you see it as well?
Yes, I think what we're working on is a clearer division of the host relationship and the learner relationship.
Right.
As we are merging the department, just kind of what our roles are. So yeah, I do see that as being kind of what we're working towards.
So one of the things, I guess, in thinking about, what we did,
mm-hmm.
So in looking at what we did, I kind of looked at two things that went well and maybe one we can improve on. I think one of the things that went well is you started the relationship with Phoenix and Naples, although of course Clark, we have a continued relationship, but you kind of were instrumental in beginning that relationship. And so I think you picking up some of the duties that I were doing, picking those up and running with them, I thought you did a really good job. And there was no hesitation. You knew what you were going to do, and you did well. Did you feel comfortable with, talking about the room and all that stuff?
I did feel comfortable talking about the room. I did feel at times like I was kind of feeling my way through what I was doing. And, kind of was aware of some disconnects that I had some ahas about, like if corporate signs something, but they don't communicate with the local facility.
No. That's good to know for future moving on. So
right.
I think that's good. I think another thing that went well was it was good to know for myself that you had all the information. So it's not like I had some of the information and you had some of the information. I knew all that information lay with you because it had to do with the host. It wasn't really learner focused, it was host focused. And I think that went well. Do you agree on that?
I do. I feel like, I was able to provide more of the information that you needed for the info sheet, that I was able to pass that more completely. And that seemed like a smoother transition whenever I did hand that off to you.
Okay.
So I thought that, went well. I do think the continuity of the relationship with the host seemed more of a flow than like getting to this point and it's kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to pass you. I'm done. And now Chrissy, so it felt a little more complete in that regard.
I agree.
I'm still figuring some of the things out. So uh, like one thing that did not go well was I forgot to call. I didn't check in. That's not on my chip. I need to put it on my calendar. It just was totally under the radar for me, and I think it would have been helpful if I had actually made that the mentor.
I agree, and you know what? It's a live and learn situation. I really think you did a good job, and I know I felt good when learners would ask me questions. I knew I could ask you, and that you felt either confident in giving me an answer, or you felt confident just reaching out to the host. Mm-hmm. So I think that went well. I think one of the things we could probably improve on is that first email letter that you send out. And I actually pulled it up on my screen just now. Let me go ahead and share my screen.
Yeah, you're talking about that early sponsor. You're talking about my first summary.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm sorry. I know you might call it something differently than I might. Let me try to close some of this. So can you see that all right?
Right.
Okay. So this was one of the things I was thinking maybe we could improve a little upon. And like you had said earlier, one of the things I'm going to take, of course, the blame for it, I don't even remember who it was for, where you sent me the information that they were going to send somebody. I guess it was Chicago.
It was Chicago.
And I totally missed it. And I think that was where there was a disconnect. And that's kind of what I was hoping we could maybe talk about that process and try to get something down that would work. And I wanted to ask if, maybe trying something new moving forward would work for you. Does that sound okay?
Sure. Okay. This is a pretty content-laden email. Yeah. It is the summary. I try and outline it as best I can.
Right.
But certainly would be open. Oh, one thing I did see, yours has got the highlights in it.
Oh yeah, I think it looks great, and other than when we put it together, several years ago, it's evolved, and I absolutely encourage you to evolve it even more to make it work for you, and then as this process becomes more concrete for us, then I think, because I refer back to this letter, Leslie, a lot during my preparation for the event. So, so one of the process right now is and it's not in this email. I'm sorry I didn't pull it up, but one of the processes that we're doing is you mention in this email that I will be in contact with the host to give them the promo code or coupon code for them to have someone register for the event at their facility.
Right.
So
this email, I think if you scroll up, it's in there because Clark changed his mind. He wasn't going to send somebody, and so
here it is right here.
Usually in this email, it just says, if you've had any problems or you haven't registered your person, reach out to you.
Right. Well, what would you think if instead of here, if you're going to offer somebody in your company a discount, which is up to $500, I believe it's $600 host discount. And then $500 host kit discount if they decide to offer lunch, if they decide to pay for lunch. I'm wondering if it might be a possibility if you if I were to give you the codes, would you feel comfortable putting them in this letter?
I honestly think that would make more sense because it's an extra.
I think so as well.
you know, so now they've got to contact you to get the codes if they want to do it.
Yeah.
It be very easy just to drop them in there. Hey, this
Okay.
is the code for this. If you're providing lunch, here's the code to apply.
Okay. I like that. I mean, you know, I was really wondering what would be a way. I think before I was the only person who gave out coupon codes. And, you know, we've evolved beyond that. And so I think at this point, so I think that's a good thought. So maybe if we think of what an apply would be for us to make this happen would be, I will send you what the code is for a host discount for $600. And then I'll also send you the code for if they decide to pay for lunch. Now, of course, you wouldn't tell them that code if
Sure.
they weren't going to pay for lunch. But so I think what I'll do is I can send you that, and you can add that to this letter.
Okay.
And you would not need to pass them off to me to get a code. How does that sound if we try that for our next certification?
I think that would be fine. I think one thing, and this is just because I don't know the answer to this, and you may already know the answer to this, is on the new website, applying more than one coupon or discount code. I think you have to, like, you enter one and apply it, and then you enter the second one and apply it. You can't enter. I don't know, the mechanism for adding it. I've only tried one.
You know what? That's a great question, and I'm not 100% sure about that because I have not entered the code. I could certainly ask Keith,
Okay.
but I'm also wondering, one of the things we were doing is we had asked the host if they would not apply these codes to one person, but it's changed a lot. So I feel like maybe that's something that you can discuss with Diane, or maybe on the all search call, because it certainly would be, well, it really wouldn't be Debbie. So, but I think Courtney and Diane, or maybe you ask them, how would they like to handle it? Is there a problem with a host offering a $600 discount and a $500 discount to the same person? And if that's okay, then great, then we'll do that. I can reach out to Keith and ask about putting in two codes at once.
Yeah. I thought that they could use it on the same person if they apply. Yeah. I mean, they have.
Well, we have, but I don't know if anyone's, you know, like we've asked them, and this was really with Beth, was more of, we asked that they just apply one code per discount. However, let's say the host is someone who has a certification. We've certainly let that host use the host discount and the 20% off. But maybe it's time that we revisit that. And I don't know if that is a all search call question or if that's a Diane and Courtney question. I think, you know, you can decide what you think would be best.
My thought on that off the top is whatever helps them get there the best. And if that means they apply all those codes, then they apply all of them to the tuition.
I
agree that they couldn't, and I've always told the host they could.
Okay, then you know what? Then I'm not gonna get involved at that point. I think that would be fine. So, okay. Well, I think we've at least found, you know, like an apply that we're going to try. Is I'm going to send you the codes. The codes are also, and I think, you know, it is nice that you talk to me before you offer any additional code. just so we make sure, since I see the registration and I will have questions if someone, is attending and they've used 4 different codes. Sometimes it's nice that you just let me know. But
Okay.
I think other than that, that's a great plan moving forward. And if you have buy-in as well, then I think we can try it.
Okay. One thing that probably it hasn't come up since I've started working here, so I haven't had to deal with it. But if somebody wants to split the code and split the discount and do 300 to each, then
there's a code set up for that. I'll make sure you have that as well.
Okay. Split codes. All right.
Okay, well, sound good?
That sounds good.
We've got our apply. We completed our agenda. I think we've got it. Okay, Leslie, thanks. I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.